Welcome back to the vlog. I got a quick announcement before we get into the session this week. I'm going to be headed to Austin, Texas. As some of you already know, I announced it earlier. And I'm also going to be playing on a live stream. So it looks like I'm going to get on the lodge on the 11th, which is Veterans Day. And it's going to be a big game. Well, at least a big game for me. It's a 5-10 with a $10 big blind ante. So it's going to be a little bit out of my comfort zone, a little stretch for my bankroll, but I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. You guys tune in to watch. I'll give you more updates as it comes near. Anyway, sit back, relax, enjoy. Here it comes. We're back at Capital Casino playing in a deep 1-3 game. I'm in for 1,000 and so far the first hour and a half, nothing's gone right. I already flopped a full house only to get beat by a runner. We have one limper from middle position. Player to my right raises to 20. He's been extremely active and playing a lot of hands. So I decided to isolate him with King 8 of hearts. Not the greatest hand in the world to do this with, but you know, sometimes you just got to make a move when you're not catching cards. So I make it $75. It's folded back around to the limper who just decides to jam all in. So he got the old limp re-raise and we're going to lose this one because we cannot call his jam and we fold. The player to my right opens again for $20. We look down at ace-10 offsuit. Kind of a questionable hand. Usually you can fold this or you can raise it, but he's been very active, so I raise it to $60. It's folded around to the player in the big blind. He thinks for a while and puts out a call for the $60. Not a very good outcome here. He probably has a pretty decent hand. Maybe we can get lucky on the flop. But then the player to my right decides to jam all in for $800. Yeah, we got to fold this one now. He did show pocket aces. Again, the player to my right opens for $20. I look down at 2 sevens. I decide to put in the call, and so do 2 other players. So we're going to end up going 4 ways to a flop with $81 in the center. Flop comes out 5-5-4 with 2 hearts. And not the greatest flop in the world, but you know, I do have a straight flush draw and an overpair, so I don't think I can let this one go. Opponent to my right now bets for $50. What could he be doing this with? Well, he could have an overpair. He could have 2 big cards, mainly ones like ace king, ace queen of hearts, maybe king queen of hearts. I decided to put in the call. As I said, I got a straight flush draw and a full house draw and quads draw. You name it, I got it. The other players decide to let it go, and it's just going to be the 2 of us, and we see a 8 of diamonds on the turn. Not a bad card. I wish it was a 7, of course. He now checks it over to me. Now, he could be just pot controlling with an overpair. Here, he could be just waiting for a free card for his flush draw or overcards. I decided to check it back. Haven't been running too good today. River card comes 10 of diamonds. All right, everything missed, and he leads out for $75. So would he make a pair of 10s? Well, he could have ace-10 of hearts, I guess. Or he could have been pot controlling with an overpair, and you know, maybe pocket 10s are better. I don't know, flush draw missed. He's been playing a lot of hands. It feels like a value bet, but I'm going to close my eyes and stick it in there, see if I can get lucky one time against him. So I put out the call, and he gets to show me that he had pocket jacks. Well, I've been donking off chips left and right today. Haven't really made a hand. Here we have Jack 10 suited on the button, open for 15, call, I call, and the 2 blinds call. So we're going 5 ways to this flop with 75 in. And we get a pretty good flop. It comes king 6 deuce with king 6 of hearts. So we flopped a flush draw. and it gets checked to the initial raiser, who bets out for $40. First player puts in the fold, and when it gets to me, I think I only have one option here. That's just to call, and hopefully we can make a flush. Small blind ends up folding, big blind ends up putting in the call. So the three of us get to see a turn card, which comes an 8 of diamonds. So no help for us. Big blind now checks. Initial raiser now checks. This would be a great time to steal the pot, but I gotta kind of have the sense that I am not going to get away with it. I haven't shown a winning hand since I've sat down. So I decided to check it back, and we're going to go see a river card. River card is a 6 of spades. We brick out completely. Now the player in the big blind leads for 125. Player who is the initial raiser calls the 125. And of course, we have nothing, so we're going to fold. Player in the big blind shows king 8 offsuit for 2 pair. I don't think a bet on the turn would have got anything accomplished other than losing more chips. All right, so we haven't won very many pots today. In fact, they're all very small and can be counted on one hand. Here, I open for a raise with Queen Jack suited from the +1 position. Only get call from the player in middle position, who's just been on a little bit of a heater. He was stuck pretty good, but I think he's well ahead now. Anyway, just the two of us are going to go see a flop, which comes out Queen, Queen 8. Pretty good flop for Queen Jack. Of course, I'm just going to continue leading. I go for about half pot bet, $15. He puts in a quick call. Turn card comes is a 5 of diamonds. I'm not sure what he has, but maybe he thinks his rush is going to keep on going. So I'm going to bet a little bit larger. I make it $50. He doesn't think too long, and he puts in the call. Kind of confused. He could be on some sort of draw. 6 of clubs looks like a complete blank. So if he was on some sort of draw, I'm going to try to let him bluff at it. So I check it. He bets 150, and I snap call. He says, "You got me." I missed, and I roll over the Queen Jack, and we finally win a hand. In fact, this was the biggest pot I won all day long. Well, I hit my time limit of 5 hours. I'm not doing so well today, so after this pot, I decided to pack it up and head on home and take my loss like a man.
Yeah, you better take it like a man. A canine never would have lost like that.
But like a true warrior, I returned the very next day, and let's see if we can get it all back. First hand we decided to play, we had pocket aces. Not a bad hand to start with. There's one player that limped in. I raced to 20. I get called from the big blind and the initial limper from under the gun. So the three of us are going to go see a flop, which comes out above average. It comes ace, jack, 8 with 2 clubs. Pretty good flop for pocket aces. I'm not complaining. It's checked to me. I bet for $20. I only get called from the player in the under the gun position. Most likely he has some sort of draw, maybe like a hand like Queen 10 for a double gutter, a flush draw. Maybe he's calling me with a jack. We see a jack of hearts on the turn. Excellent card. Now I'm really hoping that he has a jack. He checks. I bet for $50. I don't want to price out his draws, and I kind of want him to say, my jack might be good, and go for the raise. But he puts in the call, and we're going to go head off to the river for the 9 of spades. This does complete hands like Queen 10. Misses the flush draws, but you know, if I'm lucky, he's going to have Queen 10, and I'm going to get a big bet out of him at the end. He checks it over to me. Decide on a bet of $120. I think if he has a straight, he might raise, but he doesn't. He shows the King 10 of clubs for a miss straight and flush draw. I told him I was rooting for him. So already this day has been much, much better than yesterday. Here I look down at ace, king of clubs. I got to move over to a different seat with a better angle for you guys. I decided to raise to $25 after a $6 straddle, and I only get one caller. Now he is kind of an action player, and he enjoys playing interesting hands, so he could come up with just about anything. But when the flop comes king, king, jack, I'm not too concerned about anything. And he said he wasn't going to call a bet, and I bet out really small just so he would call. Turn card comes as a 3 of clubs. He checks it over to me. I go, well, if he's going to call a little bet, let's see if he'll call a little bit bigger bet. So I make it 50 and he quickly folds. It's not a big pot, but you know, it's really nice to win a couple pots as compared to yesterday. We definitely getting better cards. There's a limper in front of us, another limper, and we raise to $20 with 2 kings. Get call from the button, the limper, and the second limper. So the 4 of us are going to go see a flop with $84 in the center. Flop comes out, you guessed it, ace high with a jack and a deuce. It always happens when you have kings, doesn't it? It's checked to me and then it gets checked around. Turn card comes as a queen of clubs. Well, not bad. I can beat all queens. It's checked to me again. I decided to put out a little protection bet for $30 and I get quickly called from the player on my left. This usually indicates some sort of draw. The first limper also puts in the call. He could have some sort of draw too. River card comes as the ace of clubs, completes the flush, and makes it more unlikely that someone has an ace. When it gets to me, I check it. The player behind puts out a quick bet for $55. The first limper decides that he is going to put in the call. I think I'm up against at least one player here having a flush. So even though I'm getting a really good price to call and I got the king of clubs as a blocker, I don't think turning my hand into a bluff is going to work. You know, I could represent something big like pocket queens, but you know, I don't think anyone's going to be folding. So after some thought, I decided just to let it go. And it turned out that one player had the flush, the one I thought, and the other one showed that he had an ace. I was beat all around. Player from the +1 opens for a raise to 15. I look down at 2 sevens. Probably best to play this as a call, but I decided to raise and isolate him, make it $45. Everyone else folds out and he makes the call. So we're going to go heads up to a flop with $94 in the center. Flop comes out, king, 8, 7 with 2 diamonds. Got bottom set, he checks it over to me. I'm going to bet big here. He's been running a little salty and I think he's a little steaming, so I think he'll pay off big bets. I make it $50. He thinks for a moment and then decides to call. So he probably has something good, maybe a king, maybe a straight or a flush draw. Turn card comes as a queen of spades, a relative blank. He checks again. He only has about, I don't know, 180, maybe $170 left. I decided to go for about half of it. I put out $80 bet. He doesn't think too long before making the call. Looking for a good river card, no diamonds. Let's see what we get. And we get the king of clubs. Excellent card. He quickly checks it over to me. I move all in. He snap calls and turns over king 10 of hearts, and I show him the pocket sevens. The strong player opens for $20 from middle position. He gets 2 callers. I got king jack of diamonds. Sometimes I would squeeze with this, but not against him. So I put in the call. And we see a flop that comes ace 10 9 with 1 diamond. It gets checked all the way around and we get to see a turn card of an 8 of diamonds. Beautiful card. Pick up a straight and a flush draw. Player to my right now bets out for $55. You can have just about anything, an ace, a straight, 2 pair, maybe even a set, but I got such a big draw I can't let it go. I put in the call for the 55 and it's just going to be the 2 of us to see a river card, which comes a complete blank of a 9 of spades. After some thought, he decides to bet $75. Of course, I am completely done with the hand, and he later told me that he had 9-8. Well, the game is playing a little short at the moment, so you have to be a little bit more aggressive and play more hands. So after a limp from the player on my right, I make it $20 with Queen Jack offsuit from the cutoff. Only he defends, and we're going to go heads up to a flop with $44 in the center. Flop comes ace high, which is pretty good. It comes with a 10, so now I got a gut shot, and 2 clubs. So I got a backdoor flush draw, if you want to consider that a backdoor flush draw. I bet for 15, he quickly calls. Turn card comes as a 6 of hearts, he checks again. My goal here is to get tens to fold. If he has an ace, I think he's calling. But if I can get a 10 to fold when I'm on a draw, it'll be a good outcome. So I bet $55, just like he bet $55 against me on the previous hand, and he quickly folds, and I take this one down. All right, we're under the gun with pocket tens. That's a pretty good hand to raise with, so I make it $15. It's folded around to the player in the cutoff, who thinks $15 is a good price. Player in the small blind also agrees, and he puts in the call. So the three of us are going to go see a flop with $48 in the center. Flop comes out King, Queen, 8, Rainbow. Not a very good flop for pocket tens. It's checked to me. I decided to check this one, and it does get checked around. Turn card comes is a 3 of spades, puts a possible flush draw out there. First player checks. I bet $25 as a delayed C bet. Player in the cutoff seems to like $25. In fact, he puts it in the center of the pot, and we're heads up to a river, which comes the 3 of hearts. So the flush draw breaks out. I got third pair. I decided to check it. I don't think he would bet a queen in this spot, and I think he would have bet a king on the flop. So anything he really puts out here is probably going to be a bluff or a very slow played hand. He goes for $65 as a bet. As I said, it's probably a bluff, but I'm going to study him for a bit, see if I can pick up anything. Looks like I'm just going to have to play this one like a GTO wizard and put in the call. Pretty sure I'm good here. He lets me know by saying, "You're good," and he mucks his hand right away. So we're going to have to show this one, and we win this pot. Thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate your support. As you can tell, this week was a little bit of a struggle. That first day, I could not do anything right. And I managed to minimize my loss, which I was pleased about. Only losing $5.75 that first day. Did much better on the second day. Of course, I was catching a lot of cards, so that really does help. Made that one good call on the end with pocket tens. That was a key pot. Also, we are closing in on 9,000 subs. So if you haven't liked and subscribed by now, it would be great if you did. Let's get over 9K. So when I go out to Austin, Texas to play in that big game, I'll have a little bragging rights, right? So until next time, good luck at the tables, and we'll see you back here soon.